Okay. So, run it by me again. You're thinking of having a podcast, right? But maybe you don't know how to start a podcast, or maybe you don't know what platform to be on. I know. There's a lot. But maybe you also don't know what kind of budget you'll need, right? Okay. Well, how about this? 216 Creator Studios. Ring a bell? Okay, well, here. There you can buy a pre-built show. Or, better yet, you can build your own show. Have all the creativity in the world. And the best part about that, it can be all done within your budget. So, no worries. How about this? Start here. Just go to 216creatorstudios.com. And I guarantee you, they will help you find your voice.
What's up, everybody? Drew Casaccio, aka Cappuccino, here for another episode of Let's Talk Local. Listen, if you like what you see here today, go to the old Google box of the YouTube channel, click on 216 Creator Studios, the old live tab there. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and ding that bell for future notifications. We do appreciate your support. Jackie, the woman made of magic. How are you doing?
Doing fantastic. Per usual. Lots of stuff going on, keeping busy, different projects, helping kids.
You're always so busy.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, you have, and you know, today in the green room, we were talking, and I overheard you talking about a cookie business.
Yeah.
That too.
Retired cookie baker over here.
You know, fat guys behind the booth like cookies. That's all I'm saying. I don't believe you until I see them. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Okay. I'm getting the hint. You want the cookies next time. Noted.
Oh, man. So, you know, listen, we got a fantastic guest today. I don't know where you find all these awesome people, but we have Troy in the house today. Why don't you go ahead and introduce your guest?
Troy Parker of Goober Prints. What a name. We're going to learn all about it today. I met Troy at the Dole Farmers Market.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, the day before or 2 days before I met him, I saw his van. We're going to see that later too. But yeah, I saw it, caught my eye, and then I'm walking through the Dole Farmers Market. I had my sponsor booth up that day over the summer, and you had all these, you know, great products up and shirts and hats and branded stuff, and it just caught my eye, and I was like, you know, we started chatting, and I was like, this guy's got to come on the show for sure. So, yeah, we want to hear about what do you do? How did you get into it? Yeah, so tell us about Goober Prints.
Well, thanks for having me first. This place is awesome. It's, I mean, the coolest creative studio I've seen, but
Thank you.
I also want some cookies as well. If you're going to bring some in, I'll
Yeah,
take
right?
some. Yeah, that'd be
It's
great.
a day of cookies here.
Yeah, I mean, I can do actually Goober branded cookies, like your logo
Now
on
we're
a cookie.
talking. All
Yeah.
right, I'm going to have to put an order in for that.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, big question. Goober Prints, how did it start? I mean, depends on how long we got. It started. So I started Goober Prints back in 2019, and I started it just as an Etsy store. My wife and I, we were looking just to create a little side hustle, get a little bit of income, you know, off the side outside of our W-2 jobs. So we opened an Etsy store. I bought a little DTG printer, direct to garment printer, and we just started toying around with some baby onesies and t-shirts and throwing up a few listings here and there of generic onesies, some custom onesies, and just wanted to see how it would track. And then the first 12 months was here or there, you know, a few $100 a month. You know, some days were busy, some days were not busy at all. Our main goal was just to get, you know, again, a few $100 a month of side money just to pay some bills and stuff. And then back into 2019, I started to pick up with some sales for Christmas. And I thought, you know what, if I put some more time in and grind a little harder and do some more research and find out what the niche markets are looking for, maybe this can be something pretty big. So did that, was putting more time in, working a lot of nights, a lot of weekends, and putting some designs up. And then 2020 just boomed. COVID helped out a lot. There was a lot of like COVID branded onesies and quarantine, funny baby onesies and stuff to do with, you know, COVID and stuff. And from there, the sales have been good. And it just picked up workload enough to where I was tinkering with it being a full-time job versus my W-2 job. And then, so I've been kind of morphing the two together for the last 3 or 4 years. And then very recently, within the last 3 or 4 months, I transitioned out of my day job and brought what I did in my day job to Goober Prints. So my day job for the last 10 years was school branding, large format printing. So
that was going to be my question. Like, how did you go from whatever your day job was to this? And, you know, so yeah.
I've always been in the creative industry. Always liked graphic design. I used to paint, love logo designs, all that stuff. So my day job is a lot of that, you know, working on wall wraps and floor wraps and door wraps and window wraps for schools and colleges. So I loved that part about it. And I got familiar with every part from the selling, the designing, the installation, follow up, all that. And I just thought, you know, it was time to try that on my own and see how I can do in the market here on that. So it's going super good, super busy. I can't complain. So
yeah,
that's Goober Prints for you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like, you know, what was that initial inspiration? You said that, yeah, you're just looking for some money. Yeah. But you always had this, you know, kind of idea for, the creative stuff and the graphic design. But like, what made you kind of shift into the entrepreneurial mindset? Because that's like more than just making money. Yeah. Like, you know,
it's definitely, it's hard, it's kind of backing off what we're explaining before we started recording. I feel like with design and the creative world, like once you get into that scope of work, you can get in such a zone and it doesn't feel like working. You're motivated to do it. So I was always motivated in that part of the creative world. But when you're talking the entrepreneurial side, I feel like I just always had an idea of starting a business or working for myself specifically, just because I was always interested in the creative portion. I knew that if I put my time and energy into it, something good could come out of it. So, I mean, again, like when my wife and I lived in Australia briefly, I was a full-time commission artist, loved that. One of my projects in college, I think it was my senior year, was an apparel run, which was my first kind of look into apparel printing and marketing and stuff. So I always loved those bits and pieces. And growing up, I always saw, you know, friends and family or people that were entrepreneurs or owned their own business. And the biggest thing that spoke to me was the freedom. Like, you know, you can work hard and grind and do a 10-hour day. And then if your kid has a soccer tournament or you want to go on vacation, you can do that, right? You don't have to worry about people telling you what to do and when to do it. You can create your own life. And I love that opportunity. And I've always wanted that. So I guess now that I have that, it's just fulfilling. I don't know. I always had that entrepreneurial.
So you know, the drive of being an entrepreneur is that everybody thinks that I'm going to be an entrepreneur and I'm going to live that dream. And, you know, that dream is also tough. Excuse me. When you get to that point where you can go see your son's soccer game or hey, I'm going to do a grind. I'm going to sleep all day and then I'm going to work tonight.
Yeah.
You know, if you're able to do that based on the industry that you're in. Also, the one thing about somebody standing behind your back and dictating, right? But also the liability falls on you, doesn't fall on somebody behind you.
Yeah.
So you also have to make sure that you're careful
Yep.
on what you do. And being an entrepreneur in the beginning is tough because that self-drive, not everybody has it.
Yeah.
You have to put in the work. You have to do the hours. You have to. But here's the thing, and you and I discussed this outside of the show. It's like you want to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Versus having to do it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'll be editing or I'll be doing something for the studio, and like 7 hours will go by, and I'm like, dude, it felt like 2 hours.
You're in like a time tunnel, right?
Right,
You're so locked in and you're so zoned in on that specific role that you're not looking at the clock or you don't have any other distractions. You're funneled into that. And I feel like a big part of that, if you're working for yourself, there's that added motivation of, yes, you like the job and the role and the project that you're doing, but you also like the fact that you're doing this for you and your family, and this is going to better you, whether it's time-wise or financial-wise down the track. So that's,
100%.
That's a big
You know,
part about
outside of that, getting clientele, a lot of businesses would rather deal with an entrepreneur not because they're hungry, but because they're trustworthy. They know they have to be accountable for their actions. They know that you're a family, you're trying to feed your family doing this way. So most best relationship builders, and that's 90% of business, is building relationships. And so a lot of clientele will go after that, especially in the SMB market, the small medium business market, to where, you know, they're like, hey, shop something local. Let's go that route. Otherwise, what is it like? Not comparable to what you're doing, because you're doing everything from wraps to, you know. Why don't you actually talk about that? All I know is wraps. That you do shirts, you do cards, what do you do?
Yeah. So I started off by doing apparel. So, you know, we want to talk Etsy store specific. The biggest thing I do there is baby onesies, t-shirts, and funnily enough, dog tanks. Okay. Little side tangent. When I was starting Etsy and seeing what was trending, see where the sales were coming from, I was getting a lot of requests for custom dog merch. So people would want their dog on a t-shirt, or a baby onesie would have a dog and it would say like protected by Milo or something, whatever the dog's name. So there was an influx of pet related custom printing, and at that time there wasn't much options for that. So I really niched my Etsy store towards that. So if you go on my Etsy store, you're going to think I'm like a huge dog lover, which I do love dogs, but it's just all niche to pets and animals. So I kind of went that route with Etsy, and then mentioning to what I'm doing now, which is my main focus in Goober Prints, is the school branding. So essentially what I do on that front is I act as a wide format printer for mainly schools and colleges. I would say 95% of the work is schools and colleges, and we'll do anything from gym door wraps to big wall wraps, textured wall wraps, staircase wraps, floor wraps, and even get into security perforated vinyl, which is like that one-way vision material.
You can see out, they can't
you
see
can see
in.
out, can't see in. That's big for schools for branding, number one, because you can print their colors and mascots and all that. But two, for privacy and security, you know, blocking the view from the outside in. So that's a big product. But that would be where I'm putting all of my focus now with Goober Prints, is into the wide format printing, the schools and colleges. Just because the margins are way better, the jobs are bigger, and the room to grow is way bigger in that market. Because if you get a school in a new district that you haven't touched and you do one school, you're almost certainly going to get that entire district and every school involved. Whereas I still love doing the t-shirt orders and stuff. Margins a lot lower and the jobs are just smaller, which is just that's the nature of the beast. So, I mean, that's Goober Prints, what I do there. I don't plan on adding anything else. I think that's pretty much capped out at what I can print and do.
For now. You know, 5 years later, I mean, there's just, your brain's always turning, and the creative opportunities present themselves. And, you know, because like I'm thinking there's so much to tap into, like you said, like why even worry about that now? Just stick with what's working presently. But I'm just curious, like what other businesses or companies could benefit from stuff like that, you know, like companies that have campuses or like, you know, stuff like that. I don't know.
I mean, if you're looking at like the printing or signage industry or graphic design industry, I mean, every business utilizes that in some way, shape or form. I mean, every company has a logo. Every company that has a brick and mortar would have some sort of signage, some sort of branding. So it's everywhere. Like if you drive down Highway 14 and really take a look, I mean, Wendy's has a poster in there of the new burger that had to be printed by a print vendor. You go into Menards and you get a flyer that had to be printed by a print vendor. So there's so much printing and signage and graphics and design, whether it's someone designing those things or go on a smaller scale and look at a truck drives past and it says John Parker Constructions or something. It's all,
Somebody did it.
Yeah,
Yep.
there's tons of stuff out there.
If you can read it, it can be done. Not everything is 100% digital out
Yep.
there. Retirement homes. You go into a retirement home, that one-way
Yep.
vision type thing. It's more for privacy, but it also announces that it is a retirement home and that they're doing good things, and it might have their core values on it. It might have something on there that gains attraction along
Yep.
with their phone number and their website, and maybe even a QR code for people drive by. They can scan it and boop, 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 right? Schools, trade schools, colleges, sports. I mean, it's endless, right?
Yeah.
You and I talked about some other things we're not going to mention because
Yeah.
that's an idea that's not out
Keep
there
those
yet.
close-lipped,
Yeah,
right?
I'm holding that close to the vest. But so, it's a very unique name, and I know that's probably, I'm going to let you ask that question. Go ahead.
I'm like, where does this, well, I was first stunned by the van, which we're going to pull that up next.
Yeah.
But then the name gets you curious too. So
Yeah.
tell me, how did you come up with this name? Is it an inside joke? Like we must know.
There's not really, I wish there was a fun story or an exact reason to it, but there's not, I need to come up with something. But no, essentially when I was starting all this, so when I started my commission painting company, it was just Troy Parker Artworks, pretty bland, pretty boring, but that's what I created. And when my wife and I first met, I don't know, 10 years ago, however long it was, I would always call her a goober. Like a goober, I don't know whether it's a different translation in America, but a goober is just like a goofball, someone that's funny, like goofy, goober.
Yeah.
That's really what goober stands for. I mean, that's really kind of what it means in the Australian culture. And I always liked the name Goober. I don't know what it was. Something about it just spoke to me. So I remember way back when, before Goober Prints was even, like the actual job role of Goober Prints was even a thing, Goober Prints was a name that I had bookmarked, like, I'm going to start a company. Don't know what I'm going to do, but it's going to be called Goober Prints. I knew it was going to be somewhere in the creative field, designing or whatever, but Goober Prints, I was like, it just feels good, it flows, I'm going to do it. And I remember when I first kind of was like, Goober Prints, all right, done. Opened my Etsy store, I was like, Goober Prints, is it too childish? Is it too goofy? Is it not professional? But I was like, I'm just going to run with it because it's unique.
People like it.
Yeah, and now I love it. Like now that I'm working with a lot of schools and colleges, that's a big thing. They're like, Goober Prints, like what? But it's a name that sticks to me. Like I feel like it sticks.
100%.
Like if it was TP Printing, you would hear it and it'd be out the other ear.
Yeah.
Star Prime Printing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not going to remember that.
No.
Goober Prints, 100%.
Yeah.
In America, it could mean from Revenge of the Nerds. There was a guy
nerd.
named
Nerdy.
Goober.
Yeah.
His name was Goober. Or a goober could be a booger. It could be one of those things, right?
Yep.
But at the same time, as a business coach, I would always preach, if you can stand out and it's silly and goofy, it doesn't matter if people hate it, they'll remember it.
Exactly.
Because remembering it, all the PR is good PR. They're going to remember, they're going to watch it, they're going to want to try it, whatever the case may be,
Yep.
And then once it expands to where you want it to be, and a lot of people like to keep their companies small because it gets crazy the bigger you get. You know what I mean? So I think Goober Prints, first of all, awesome name.
Sweet, thank
Well
you.
done, man.
Yeah.
I love it. And so real quick, what I want to do is I want to bring up these photos of some of the work that you do, and then we're going to bring in this van here. So
Yes.
if you guys take a look here, wow.
Crystal Lake Central.
Chris Lake Central, yeah.
Yep,
That's
yep.
the gym doors. If you kind of enter into their gym area foyer, that's the gym doors that will open into their gymnasium.
So now when you do this, you're there and then you're laying this whole thing out, and are you starting at a corner and then kind of squeegeeing it
Yeah.
down and then having to trim at the same time around the windows? How does that work?
So I've got some really cool videos that I had to show you. Like for instance, this one I've been trying to work on doing some like 30-second to 1 minute videos of each install, just fast paced, just to kind of give the viewer a little bit of a feel for the install. But I mean, so let's go front end to back end on a job like this. Obviously the school, whether it will be the athletic director or the principal, will contact me and bring me in for a field measure. So I'll come on site, measure the doors, measure the doors. So I get the width of the door, height of the door, locate the windows, locate the door handles, make sure there's nothing too crazy that's going to be blocked in those areas. Like for instance, I didn't want the eyeballs to be 4 inches higher and be cut off with that window. Take those measurements back, and then I would do a scaled design mock. So I'd grab their vector logo, throw it in, design it to scale, mock it up on a picture of the wall, send it to the client for approval. Once it's approved, again, rip those print files, print it in-house, laminate it in-house, take it on site to install. A job like this, basically I work on a job like this left to right. So start with the left door itself, peel off the top, 12 inches, tap it to the top, peel the whole graphic off, and then align at the bottom, and then kind of squeegee your way through. Panel 2, you do the same thing, but you want to take the whole panel off and then line up all those aspects that flow from door to door. So like the teeth we're connecting, the bottom teeth
Yeah, it
connect,
looks seamless.
the nose, yeah. And it's really not that
perfect.
difficult. You do like a 1 inch space, so I could bore you with all the details, but the material is super user friendly. I use 3M material, which
You could pull it back up if you
you
need
can rip
to.
it back up. You could fold it on itself and heat it and recoil it.
Ooh.
A big thing in the print industry is using the best product. So like I use 3M material, which is the bee's knees. Obviously, everyone's heard of 3M. It's expensive.
Shout out
but
to 3M.
It is, yeah. 3M looking for that sponsorship deal there.
Yep.
But yeah, the material is so easy to work with, and it's also quality material, so it lasts well. But yeah, that's the scope of that install
Did
too.
you do the garbage bin too? Because I noticed that
No. Nah.
there's just like that little touch in the middle.
Yeah, no, that I
Actually,
think
that
that garbage bin is like an actual laser cut metal. Like that's a
Oh.
relief from memory.
Now I remember years ago, right? When you did vinyl or tried to put it on a door or tried to put it on a car before wrapping was a thing. Early 90s, I want to say. That was still probably a thing. I don't know. It wasn't for me, though. I did pinstriping
Yeah.
on cars. I had a detail company.
Yeah, nice.
And so if it was window tinting or whatever the case may be, once you got those bubbles, it was game over.
Yeah.
You could try to heat gun it. You could try to poke a hole in it and smash it. And if you pull it back up, well, that's another 3 hours of trying to get
And
the
that
goop
vinyl's
off.
so taunt too. Like
100%.
it's so
Didn't
stiff.
flex, So listen, if you're thinking about this at home, go to Goober Prints, just due to the fact of if you try to do it by yourself, you're going to spend more time and money doing it by yourself than the one time.
And it won't look as good.
No, it
won't.
won't.
And the big thing too is sometimes you'll put it on the wall and it might look great, but then 6 months later it'll start peeling at the corners or something. So there's so many different aspects, like the paint that the wall is painted with, whether the vinyl can adhere to it, all these different aspects.
Correct.
Prepping the wall.
Textured.
Yep.
Yeah, man. There's so much involved. Leave it to the professionals. Leave it to Troy. Leave it to Goober Prints. So I mean, man, look at this. It's all just almost like it was made like that, right? Like it was just supposed to be that way. Was there anything on any of this stuff prior to you being there?
No,
Or
so that-
they just decided to do this.
Yeah, so that there it's a desk at a middle school in Round Lake. It was just a stock fab desk. It was, you can see kind of that grayish bluish footer section. The whole desk was that color. But it was a
Boring.
beautiful blank canvas. Yeah, I remember
Or-
walking in there and I saw it like it's a a desk centered in the room, and it was a beautiful blank canvas. I was like, you know, the creator and you can see it, be like, that's good. We got to brand this. And that's why when I do what I do is I will mock it and send it to the client first for them to see, and I don't charge anything for that.
Oh.
Because once the client sees it, then they're like, oh, wow.
It pops, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. This was, and again, the desks, this is all flat surfaces, super easy, but just the final product looks so cool.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a total upgrade. And it's just like, I don't know, like it adds to the school pride. That's a big thing.
It's your brand.
Yeah, when working with students, I mean, even from a student perspective, like they really like having school pride and like these little visual cues, you know, helps them to like feel excited about being at school, like those little things that you wouldn't even think about.
That's one of the coolest parts about working with schools, like mainly elementaries and middle schools, because high school kids are too cool to say that that's cool. But middle school and elementary kids, you'll be doing a rap with whatever it is, doors, walls, floors, and they'll be like, whoa, like, look at that. Look at the huge raptor or the huge bulldog that their school mat, and they love it. They're engulfed in it, and it's that school pride. So those aspects are really cool for this. And I feel like here, like school branding and school pride is huge because that kind of just sets you out. It almost sets you out differently than the schools in the surrounding area as well. So
Yeah.
Troy, I'm a huge nerd.
Yeah.
And if I wasn't married, you would be at my house putting up one wall of Voltron.
wrapping everything. Yep.
One wall would be Transformers.
Yep.
I would have a Star Wars wall. And I would never get married at that point because nobody would ever want to come into my house.
That would be sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet
Man cave
visual,
waiting to
though.
happen. Right.
Unless you guys met at what are those like Comic-Con?
Like a Star Wars convention.
Yeah, right.
Something like
yeah.
that. Yeah.
There's somebody for everybody.
Yeah.
Somewhere along the way. That's awesome. And so let me see if I can pull up the van here real quick.
Oh, the big van.
Yeah, it's just so standout, and it just looks fun.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, before I knew about the Australian term of goober, like I was like, I didn't make the connect, but that totally makes a connect between like this
There it is.
fun car and this fun word. Like,
Yeah, I couldn't
look at
just get
that.
like a Toyota Camry and put a Goober Print sticker on it.
No.
I needed to do something that was a little weird.
No,
But-
that's cool. I don't even know where you find that car.
Like, what even is it?
It's from Japan, so it's a Japanese van. Long story. So this van it's right-hand drive. Stick
I was just
shift.
going to ask, right-hand driver?
Right-hand drive stick shift.
yeah.
So that's how Australia is. So I grew up driving right-hand drive stick, and I don't know. There's something about just driving stick that's like, I'm not a huge car guy, but I just like.
You feel like you're
driving
driving it.
You
right?
feel like
Yeah.
you're actually driving. You're not just sitting there coasting and dozing off. So I always wanted to get a little run around right-hand drive stick, just my fun car. And there was a few of these. There was like some Datsun ones and some Suzuki ones that I'd seen in Australia growing up here and there. And then I located the Honda Acti is what the model is. And I knew that they're from Japan. So like, it was maybe like 2 years ago, I was like to my wife, I prepared the speech and I was like, babe, so Goober Prints is doing well. We're having a really good year. I really think we need to get one of these little miniature vans from Japan. And obviously my wife was like, why would we need that? And I kept spinning it off for like marketing, business write-off, marketing. But I really wanted it because it was cool and it was fun to drive.
Right.
So long story short, she was awesome. And she was like, yeah, I get it. It's pretty cool. I get it. And I mean, crazily enough, yes, it's fun to drive, but it draws so much attention. I knew it would draw a little bit of attention, but it's drawn a ton of attention.
I've never seen anything
No, me neither.
like that.
Like I'll be parked at Menards and then I'll get a phone call and be like, hey, I see your van and looked at your website. Do you do T-shirts or stickers and stuff? I'm like, yeah. And then you'll get orders from that. So it's a cool conversation start that
Absolutely.
route.
Conversation piece.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
And look at it.
Yeah.
It's just so cool.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
It's a
love
win-win.
Practicality wise, It's not this. It's like 45 mile an hour max speed. You're like revving top.
Well, listen, it's not like you have a fleet, right? Where you got all these guys out there. So it's just you.
Yeah.
You're having fun with it. Like you said,
yeah.
entrepreneur, you probably can't wait. Oh, I gotta go do a field measure.
Yeah.
Sweet. Get to
Sweet.
drop in my fan.
But it's got to be within a 20-minute radius because that thing, not step foot on I-90 because I'll just get blown over from a truck.
Oh, yeah.
But no, if it's a local job, like when I'm working at South or Central or Barrington, I'll take that for a whip out there just because it's fun.
That's awesome, man. Really cool.
Park it somewhere at an event that you're doing a sponsorship at even. Mm-hmm. Did you have it at the Dole when you were setting up?
Yeah. So at so I did 6 Dole markets this year. I think it was the first 1 or 2 maybe that I had to park it in the car park, but then after that, they were letting me park it behind my booth.
Yeah.
I mean, you can, and just from that,
It's
too,
a conversation starter.
even people not coming to buy stuff, just coming to chat about the van. I love that. Like
Yeah.
people fascinated with. The biggest question people ask is like, "Are you legally allowed to drive that thing?" But no, it's cool. I love that van.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Fun.
Wow. So, and I'll say, listen, folks, check them out. If you look at the screen there, we're going to go ahead and drop that out there so you don't even have to say it. It's going to be up there for you, Troy.
Sweet.
Go ahead and check out their website. You never know what might come around in the creative world to where you're like, oh, I can probably use Goober Prints for that. Troy, it's been awesome having you here. We appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks
to
for
come
having
in.
me.
Yeah, absolutely. And so if you guys are looking for that's gooberprints.com. Don't forget, you can also give them a phone call for that free quote, 815-919-2826 for Goober Prints. Man, it goes by so fast, Jackie. I don't even know.
What was that 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it seems like it, right?
Yeah.
We
Don't
can do
even
this for
talk to me
hours.
about
Oh, yeah.
time perception, okay?
Yeah, we were just talking about doing work and 7 hours goes by,
Yeah.
right?
I know, and it goes by so fast. So, hey, check us out. Don't forget to go to our YouTube channel, 216 Creator Studios. Click that live tab for the recent stuff. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, folks, and ding the bell for future notifications. Until next time, what's our tagline? I always forget. You said it.
Where we talk local and listen global.
Radio.